that your first time seeing our intro?
Yeah, that was
Isn't
wild.
it cool?
Got me dancing. Yeah.
All right. Well, if the intro didn't, tip it off, this is KSR Happy Hour presented by Country Boy Brewing. And I'm Tyler Thompson. I'm your host today. We've got Drew Franklin back, always pointing the wrong direction here. We've got Zack Geoghegan modeling a Country Light and Jack Pilgrim also with the Country Light. I have got, Witness the Citrus. I haven't tried that one. It looks delicious.
Oh, we should have done a group can opening. That was my bad.
I haven't opened yet. Let's do it.
It's kind of what we're doing right now, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
Cheers. Delicious.
Zach is on his 9th, so he was had a head start there.
He got a head start. Zach, no. He's been working all day long. Well, welcome to a new episode of KSR Happy Hour, your favorite 4 p.m. Thursday happy hour on the KSR YouTube channel. We have a lot to talk about today, which got very newsy. I sat down to do the rundown this morning and was like, scraping the bottom of the barrel for stuff. But about noon, a bunch of news broke. So figured we could start with an update to last week's huge topic, the Mark Pope-Pat Kelsey fight. Kelsey himself spoke about it today at a St. X Trinity luncheon. I guess they have a luncheon to promote that game. Sure. That seems, it's the KSR game of the week. So why not, right? Mm-hmm. Steven, I sent you a clip. Can we play that and just let it speak for itself here?
The dream was this was a UFC fight. Right, the president of UFC's here. This place is packed. It's like 1,000 people. And I get there and I look up, and the headliner event, the main battle, Kelsey versus Pope. So if you see stuff on social media and things like that, like, heck, man, that dude's a competitor. I'm a competitor. He's the head coach of one of the best programs in the country. So am I. We compete on the court. We compete in recruiting. We go out. But you know what? There's honor among thieves. We really respect each other. I think Mark Pope is one of the finest human beings in coaching. World-class father, world-class husband. I still want to take his face off when we
Oh, my gosh. I kind of love that was like stuttered, like the lagging, because it made it that just more ridiculous. So in case you weren't on the internet last week, Mark Pope and Pat Kelsey, word broke that a few weeks prior had a verbal exchange, a heated verbal exchange outside Tay Kinney's apartment in Atlanta because Pope was late to his scheduled time slot to visit Kinney. And so Kelsey was there waiting and decided to jump him in line. So that was Kelsey's response today. Drew, what are your thoughts on it as probably the most hated or the person who hates Louisville the most on this panel?
I wear that badge with honor. I saw that earlier. First of all, Tony Vanetti's beard looks great.
I know.
In the background. I actually saw Tony Vanetti like 2 weeks ago, and I don't think he had a beard, which makes it even more impressive. But good looking beard there, Tony. But I hate to admit it. I want to take a shot at Louisville every opportunity I can, but that was a pretty good way for Kelsey to handle it. They were going to have to address it at some point. He turned it into a little bit. I got to admit, I kind of like it, and I got to tip the cap to Kelsey. And this is part of a bigger problem, but the animosity is not there where I need it to be. It's not the two Italians anymore. We have two genuinely good guys who respect each other, and as he said, they want to rip each other's face off. They kind of have a little buddy thing going on here. It's weird.
Mark it down as September 25th at 4:07 p.m. Drew Franklin says that Pat Kelsey is a genuinely good person. There you go. You redeemed yourself a little bit. Anybody have a differing thought on this? Want to take a shot at Pat Kelsey for this? Want to make fun of him? Jack, it looks like
he looked very short in that video. I mean, he always looks short because that's just his physical appearance, but he does look particularly short on that stage. The stage swallowed him whole. But I do think it's funny how when the word leaked about this whole fight, kerfuffle, whatever we want to call it, that we kind of like, oh, there's no way that it's true because the initial controversy about it was, fans saying, I can't even believe that Tay Kenny's parents allowed anybody in their house at midnight. It's super unprofessional. It's so desperate and all those things. And it's like, oh, it was at his apartment in Atlanta. It wasn't that big of a deal. And like, it ended up actually becoming a big drama-filled thing because of the location and them meeting together in Atlanta. So what was thought to be totally non-controversial at all ended up being a massive controversy, and maybe kind of like pouring a little bit of gasoline on the rivalry fire that's just been missing, man. It's just, I don't know where it is, that level of apathy with Kenny Payne, now like this kind, sweet, whatever this is right now. We need more. And I don't think Pat Kelsey did his job of stoking those flames anymore.
Zach, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, now I'm interested to see like who's going to be the first one. Like, what's going to be the breaking point? When is it going to happen? Because eventually, if these guys are here for a long time, they're going to start hating each other. But yeah, to Jack's point, like Pat Kelsey, he has the attitude of a much taller man than what he actually is. So I give him props for that. But I'm trying to find reasons to not like Pat Kelsey, and I'll get there eventually. But I am very curious to see who is kind of the first one to actually send the first dagger, or whatever the proverbial word is. I'm very interested to see that, and then kind of how it all boils up from there. Like, does Pope take the bait if Kelsey goes after him? So that's now kind of where we're at in this soon-to-be rivalry. It'll get there. It will. We're just not there right now.
Something tells me it'll be Brandon Garrison's fault. I don't know why, but I just feel like he's going to be the one where it's like, all right, screw it, we're fighting.
He mistakes Pat for a small child in the crowd and accidentally hugs him or something. And starts
gives him a lollipop. Thanks for coming, kid.
I prefer to think that this whole nice guy act, buddy is just that. It's just an act, and that they actually really do hate each other. And that's like just a fantasy of mine, because I don't think either of them are capable of that. But it was entertaining. I mean, it's funny. It's good for the rivalry. I'll be curious the first time Pope addresses it. Like, I can't picture him bringing it up at like the Louisville tip-off luncheon, but maybe he would. So maybe Tom Leach will lead him into that question, hopefully. So that
a prediction on that. I bet Pope says he has a UFC dream where Kelsey's on the other, and he just like copies his statement to kind of put the two together, and that's just the last we hear of it. Pope will say he had the same dream the same night, and then they'll move on.
or he'll play up the quotes from the Jeff Goodman Rob Dawson interview and said, "Well, I told everybody that he throws darts, and he had pictures up everywhere. Why do you guys just assume that I'm lying all the time?" It'll be something like that.
I like that. I like Jack's theory. The comments section is rolling. Seth Kilgore says, L's down is my only thought. Pat the Squeak needs shoe lifts to shake hands with Pope at half court. I love it.
Squeak.
Pat the Squeak. He will therefore be known as Pat the Squeak. Well,
Sure.
I appreciate it, because we're still talking about it a week later, and we're like 50 days from that game, which seems crazy to me. But bring it on. We will get back to basketball later on in the show, but we should start with the South Carolina game, which is coming up Saturday night, 7:45, SEC Network. The spread is down to South Carolina 5.5, right? I think that's the latest.
Open at 6.5.
Yeah. What are your all's vibes on that? How are we feeling Thursday before the game? Zach, I'll start with you.
I don't really know, to be honest with you. I'm just very excited to see Cutter Boley get his first, I guess, official SEC start. I don't think he didn't start that Texas game last year, I don't think. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But so I'm very excited to just see how he handles the whole Sandstorm situation. And by all accounts, South Carolina is a really tough place to play. So I'm eager to see how he looks in that setting. And it doesn't sound like they're going to have DJ Waller. That's going to be tough. Ryan Nichols will at least be back, so maybe get a little bit more help in the secondary. But South Carolina ran for negative yards last week, and they also have a quarterback who can throw it for 300 yards. So I really don't know what to expect out of South Carolina in particular. Like, I feel like I could probably predict how it plays out for Kentucky better than I can for South Carolina. Just don't punt the ball to the guy back there who already has like 1,000 returning yards and a handful of touchdowns through 3 or 4 games for them. So I think that spread is about right. Like, I can easily see it being a close game, kind of like Ole Miss style, like maybe where Kentucky is kind of right there, but never really right there. I still don't know which way I'm going to pick once we do our actual predictions there tomorrow on the website, but I do think it's going to be close. I think we're going to see a nice game from Seth McGowan, just kind of establish himself, or confirm to establish himself as the kind of the bell cow on the team there. So yeah, it's I'm still kind of at a toss up right now, but so some of the advanced stats are all kind of weird because of how Lenora Sellers missed most of that Vandy game, so that's kind of skewing some of their stats and stuff like that. But yeah, it should be a close game, and it's almost must-win territory for Kentucky when you kind of stare down the barrel of the next 5 weeks after that. So,
well, it's a high-stakes game for South Carolina, too. Like you said, they lost their last 2 games to Vanderbilt, Missouri, and that Vandy game was pretty lopsided. It was like 31-7 at the end. So I reached out to Tom Hart, who is calling the game. It's our first Tom Hart game of the season, to get a quote about it. And he said, "Is it hyperbole to state that this is the most consequential game in college football this weekend? I think not." Ooh. Do we agree or disagree with Tom Hart?
I haven't looked at the schedule, but
it's pretty loaded. It's a big schedule.
It's a loaded schedule, but really, whichever team loses this, and I hate saying that about a road game, but you're in big trouble. I expect it to be very close. I'll be shocked if it's a blowout in any direction. But I will admit, I think talent-wise, it's pretty even. Sellers being the better quarterback, but I think Kentucky's defensive line is a lot better than we're giving it credit for, and they're going to give him havoc. But overall, I think back to some of the basic issues Kentucky has had at home against Eastern Michigan. Communication things, play calling, in-game management, giving up an explosive play for a touchdown right before the half. And I think if you're doing that in front of your own crowd, how is that going to get fixed before your first road game? I know there was a bye, but Kentucky isn't great coming out of those. So I just worry about the overall operation, not just Cutter himself, but that whole offense. If they were getting tripped up at home against Eastern Michigan in the games before it, first road game, I worry that something's going to come down the stretch and something idiotic really might cost Kentucky in the end. But I won't be shocked if they go down there and win it either. I think we're in for a close game, and either team will have it within reach in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think all things considered, I think Kentucky wins this game more often than not. But it's not all things considered because it is coming off a bye week, and Mark Stoops, for whatever reason, just pisses down his leg whenever this exact game happens. South Carolina's 0-2 in the SEC. The sunglass, just whatever weird thing that Stoops has with Shane Beamer, it just has his number right now. There's so many just uncomfortable, Cutter going into his first road SEC matchups as a starter. There are just so many things that are working against Kentucky that, even though the injuries are playing in Kentucky's favor, South Carolina's super beat up right now. In the trenches, Kentucky can really find an advantage in a lot of those areas, but it's just the massive black cloud hanging over this program, and that is just bye weeks under Mark Stoops. And until he can prove that he can be competent coming off of a bye week, I am not going to pick Kentucky to win these games.
Yeah, and just to share that stat that I feel like we've all heard a million times, Kentucky is 6-10 in bye weeks under Mark Stoops, 5-9 versus SEC teams. So we'll see. He apparently reached out to his coaching friends to shake up the bye week routine. We'll see if that actually matters or if we're in for another disappointing night. But at least those of us watching at home will have an entertaining broadcast because Tom Hart's calling it. I got a sneak peek at some of his references. How many KSR references do we think will make the broadcast? What are we setting the total at?
2.5.
I'm going much higher for a football game. He can get to 5 or 6 in a basketball game. I'm going to say we're looking at 6 or 7. I'll say 7.
All right.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I mean,
I got 4.5.
Yeah, I got a sneak peek. Get ready to hear about Ryan Lemon getting sucker punched 2 years ago. He had some really good South Africa references for Matt's trip, which shows me he's following Matt's Instagram, which is the only social media Matt has right now, which is hilarious. I joked to him, I was like, is it a KSR reference if Matt's iPhone is broken and he won't know about it? So that'll be interesting to follow along to. So we've got that coming up on Saturday night. We'll keep the show moving along. We got our cheers segment where we give quick shout outs to a variety of things. I'm going to start with Kentucky Volleyball, which opened SEC play with a sweep of South Carolina last night to move to 8-2 on the season. I talked to my mom yesterday, and she's in North Carolina right now. And the person who's with her, I had no idea about this, is a huge volleyball fan. And so my mom asked me, when does the Kentucky volleyball team play? And I said, tonight, against South Carolina. She pulls the phone away from her and says, Shammy, the match is at 7, SEC Network. We got to watch. So mom's pumped up for volleyball. So shout out to the Cats. Any volleyball thoughts here? I didn't get to see the match. I forgot to call my mom for the recap. So
I saw that it was the first time they've won their first SEC match of the season since like 2021, which is crazy because they've won the championship 8 straight times. But I guess that many years they've gotten off on the wrong foot. That was just a shocking stat to me. Otherwise, I tried to keep up with it kind of on and off. But South Carolina had control of most of the second set, and then Kentucky came back and took that one. The rest, it was pretty much a blowout. Cats are looking good, up to number 3.
I've caught myself watching more Kentucky volleyball this year than ever. And I don't know if it's just because every single match is a top 5, top 10 opponent, but I am thoroughly enjoying watching these. And Zach, we're doing our little KS board live thread thing going where we're having a blast on KS board too. So I'm really, really enjoying this season. It's a very fun, watchable team this year.
Yeah. And I'll make sure to give a shout out to college intern Penelope Stefik Lynch. She's been covering the team for us so far this year. She's been doing a great job. She was at the game last night. She said the environment's been awesome for all the home games she's been to. And to your point, Drew, UK was down 18-10 in that second set before I think they went on a 19 something run to win it 29-17. So a crazy second set. Apparently Memorial was really popping for that. So that was really cool. And Jack, like you said, I think it is because of so many top 10 matches. I've watched 5, maybe 6 matches all the way through. I didn't get to catch last night's one. I was just reading up from the recap, but all those top 10 ones I've been tuned into. I've been cheering. I'm learning some of the rules, or the lingo, you should say. Every time Brooklyn DeLay smashes one of those balls to the other end of the floor, it looked like I know that if it hit me in the stomach, I would throw up right there, and you'd have to take me to the hospital. And then same with Eva Hudson on the other side. She had a school record 28 kills in a 3-set match. I think that was 2 matches ago, something like that. It was the most in a 3-set match by any Division I player since 2019. She's one of the Purdue transfers, her and Lizzie Carr. So they've got a really fun group going. The SEC, I know they have 5 or 6 more ranked opponents on the schedule, including number 2 Texas. And then Florida's kind of always a good team as well. So it's going to be tough to get to that 9th straight SEC championship, but they're number 3 in the country. Texas is number 2. So I think as long as if they can beat Texas, they're probably going to win their 9th straight, which is kind of crazy to think about. And they don't do a SEC volleyball tournament for the SEC for some reason. I think that's going to change. I don't know if that changes this year or next year, but I could swear that I saw something. I might have to look that up while you all talk and make sure I confirm that or not. But that's coming eventually. But yeah, Craig Skinner's he's just got a squad right now, so it's they're fun to watch.
This guy knows ball, just naming Eva Hudson and calling out the scores from
oh yeah, I'm tapped in. I'm telling you. So until I figure out I was wrong about the SEC volleyball tournament, but
yeah,
they're home this Friday, by the way. I think it's Georgia.
Yeah, so another match coming up.
A good Friday night if you want to go see Historic Memorial.
So actually, I think they do go back to this is the first year they'll do an SEC volleyball tournament. So we will have a regular season and a tournament championship potential. So UK could sweep them both. Who cares, So let's go for it.
I don't know how they can do a tournament playing that many games in a row, because when I played volleyball in church, my wrist would get so red after 15 minutes. I couldn't possibly play a tournament format. I had to go home. A
5-set match will go 3+ hours. That Louisville match, I think that was close to a 3-hour match, the one that UK won. And the 5th set only goes to 15 points. But, if the other ones are taking forever, those are long matches. So, yeah, I don't know if they'll do it a back-to-back-to-back situation or if they'll take a day off or whatnot. But, yeah, that's coming up in November sometime. So.
Well, cheers to the Cats. I know my mother will certainly be watching in North Carolina, so cheers to her too. Second cheers goes to Zion Williamson, who is now skinny. I figure we had to give Zion some props. I've seen people calling him Zion because they think he took Ozempic. I don't think he did, but my only takeaway with this is it's got to be hell getting skinny in New Orleans. With all that good food around, I don't know. It would
Well,
be
that's
tough for
that's
me.
not even a joke. Like, that's legitimately why he had trouble with his weight.
Yeah,
It's 'cause of
no,
the food in New Orleans. That was the issue.
it's delicious, all of it. Do you all have any takes on Skinny Zion?
I know he's a Duke guy, but I hope we get some NBA Zion. You know, the Duke part of it stinks, but he was on pace to be like just a superstar playmaker. I hope we get him in the dunk contest. I want him to be healthy. I want to see what it looks like when we get a full season of Zion, because when he was healthy, even when he was much heavier, he was fun to watch. Here I am. I've now complimented Louisville and Duke. What's going on?
Get off the show.
No,
What
I
are
would
we
love-
doing?
I think they need to make Zion, John Morant, mainly for the dunk contest. Get those guys back in it and make that entertaining. And Skinny Zion would be a great candidate.
He'll be out for the season. He'll be out for the season by then. No, I don't know. The great Jeff Teague had a great quote in Marcus Teague, Kentucky legend, Marcus Teague's brother. Well, we're not supposed to feel bad for Zion Williamson. This is all his own fault. He couldn't
100%.
control any of this because he just constantly eats. He gets paid so much, has all of the world-class dietitians and trainers and in a gym literally at his fingertips, but instead he uses those fingertips to chow down on jambalaya and Creole and all of the things. No, I will never feel bad for Zion Williamson. And yes, this is absolutely short-lived. Zempic Zion is going to be short-lived. Enjoy these photo ops to start the season, because by February he's going to be back to 350 pounds and out for some foot injury or some other nonsense that keeps him out. Again, we will never see healthy Zion. We'll never see him at full strength, and it's all his own doing. So thank you for Jeff Teague for speaking on behalf of the people that are in the background going, wait, are we supposed to feel bad for this guy? Because all of this is his own wrongdoing. So sorry, Zion. We'll see you in February and see how many games you actually play.
I don't feel sorry for him, but
I
I want Antonio Reeves throwing lobs to a healthy Zion. I don't feel bad for him. He definitely got fat on his own, but I think the NBA would be better if we got one run at what Zion could be, especially make these guys do the dunk contest.
Yeah.
That should be the punishment.
Sorry to break to you.
As
The Stars
he
were never
inches-
doing the dunk contest.
As he inches closer and closer to 350 pounds or whatever he ends up being, it should be like, hey, if you get to 315, you're in the dunk contest. Hit the treadmill.
Yeah, it's not that I feel bad for Zion. It's I feel bad for NBA fans like myself, because when Zion is like healthy and playing, he's a top 10, 15 player in the league, sometimes top 5, like Shaq level numbers around the rim when he was like kind of in his peak, in his prime at a young 22
Prime
years
rib.
old. Yeah, prime rib. So, but yeah, he played 30 games last year. He played 70 games the year before, but like he's averaging around like 30, 40, 50 games a year, which is just like you said, like Jack said, he'll have like a nice start or something. Something will happen in the middle of the season. The Pelicans will be 10 games below 500, and they'll rule him out for the rest of the year. And Zion Williamson will be probably out of the league in a few years because he just can't seem to keep himself on track. Is really the issue. It's a lot of it is just his own fault. So, but it is a bummer because he's really, really talented. He just doesn't seem to make the best decisions from not food related in general. He just it doesn't seem to make good decisions.
Think about the big three of Keon Brooks, Antonio Reeves, and Zion Williamson.
BJ Boston was on the team last year
Look
too.
out-
Come on,
look
we
out,
could have had a
Thunder.
whole squad.
I think they signed Hunter Dickinson, maybe. Look out, Thunder.
Oh my God.
Here they come. What a roster.
They're
I
going
don't
to be they're going to be working at an Arby's together. Hunter Dickinson and Zion are going to be working at an Arby's together here in a couple years.
My whole thing with Zion and his weight is it count as fat shaming if you're a professional athlete? Like everybody makes fun of his weight, but he's paid to be in shape. So is it like fair game to fat shame him? Like,
Well, it happened with
he's
Luka
paid a lot of
Doncic, and
money.
he took it personally and is on pace to have his best season ever. So we'll see if that actually works with Luka. But he got bullied into losing weight, so maybe it'll happen with Zion too.
Zion's got to be throwing his hands in the air like, you called me fat, I lost weight, now you're making fun of me. Like, where do you want me? What exact weight do you want me?
Whatever
He
weight will
is-
keep you on the floor for 75 games a year. That would be ideal.
oh man, he's like 2 more online insults away from just going down and getting a beignet, just binging on beignets. Well,
Me too.
cheers to Zion for the weight loss. Our final cheers of the show will be to Stephen Pearl, who has gotten a 5-year deal with 0 head coaching experience. He's taking over for his dad, Bruce, at Auburn. I'm still trying to figure out, has anybody seen a buyout number for that contract?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's got to be super low, right? How could you give a kid with no coaching experience who, as Drew told us, was considering going to medical school, a 5-year contract in the SEC? It blows my mind. I'm still not over it, however many days later since the news broke.
It's not going to work. I mean, there's no way that's going to work. I don't know what the buyout is. I assume if one even exists, it's very low. I can't believe Auburn actually went through with it. I know Bruce backed him against the wall with his timing, but I mean, you're just off a Final Four. You just won the regular season. Your program is as good as it's ever been right now. I know it was hard to, go any other direction with how Bruce had it, but you had to do a bigger search and consider someone that could actually take where he got you and continue it. And I don't think Steven's got a shot.
The nerve of Auburn to claim they did a nationwide search was in that statement was ridiculous to me. Like, come on, just be honest. Like, oh man.
I support this decision wholeheartedly. I actually I'm rooting for him, because if this is what leads Brad Calipari to taking over as the head coach at Arkansas, I just need a little bit of inspiration. I need Cal to look at this and go, that just might work. And then we get to see Earn Not Given roaming the sidelines down there as they're calling the hogs. I'm all the way in on this. So Steven, I'm rooting for you. I hope that you have a ton of success, and I hope that this time next year, next October-ish, we see John Calipari. He can come back and be the ambassador of the program here back in Lexington. We can do the Y thing and all that stuff at Rupp Arena, and then it can be Brad's time to shine down at Bud Walton.
Yeah,
we need to get, so if that happens, we need to get Calipari versus Pearl in the political sphere. Could you imagine those two on a debate stand up there, just kind of throwing jabs at each other? I don't like
my
Bruce
ears
Pearl.
are bleeding thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Bruce Pearl. I think he's a liar and cheater. So I'm glad that he's gone from college basketball, and I'm glad that he replaced an SEC program that was kind of turning into Kentucky's rival with his son with no coaching experience. So, and I understand that Stevens ran the offense or whatever, like he was the offensive mind, whatever. It's a lot different. Like Bruce Pearl is a good coach. So like one of the better coaches probably in all of college basketball. So even if Stephen Pearl is, half as good as that, like it's probably still not going to be nearly good enough to win the SEC. So from a Kentucky perspective, it's great because you don't have to deal with Bruce Pearl anymore, and Auburn's probably going to be bad. And Todd Pettiford, if you want to hop in the portal or something, go for it, dude. You don't have to stay there anymore. Don't even have to come to Kentucky.
Come be the 17th man.
You could be behind Reese Potter in the rotation there. Our new unicorn, Reese Potter, I should say.
Yeah, so I saw that thread on the board. Why is he a unicorn? Because he's tall and can shoot threes?
He's tall and shoot threes. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, we got a lot of
Kristaps Porzingis coined that term 12 years ago, and now it's
R.I.P.
Yeah,
he died?
He's not dead. He just lives in Atlanta.
He's dead to me.
I was like, man, we're killing people now. This is getting way off the road.
Well, Drew killed someone this morning on the radio show, so I think it's all
true,
fair
man.
game.
Yeah, that was my bad. I fixed it 3 segments later. It's just a little awkward there for about 45 minutes.
You paid your respects. It's okay.
Yeah.
In front of a whole festival of people. So shout out to West for Robin for the super chat. West for Robin, says it's fair game to be getting paid millions of dollars. I'm assuming that's a Zion reference. Maybe it's a Stephen Pearl reference. We haven't seen how much he's earning, but
I looked it up. The buyout has not been released yet, so unfortunately, we'll have to learn that.
Burrito, hopefully.
Have the terms of the contract, like just how much he's making. They're keeping all of that under wrap and key, I'm sure. All right, well
how
that wraps
making,
up Cheers. Too much. Let's see.
Probably too much.
So I wonder how much, is he going to make in this advisory role? Is it really just you will be this, in this role for a year, and then you can go do whatever you want. You can run for office, etc.
I see it as a way for him to look over Steven's shoulder and hold his hand in every moment that's not in-game decisions. There's just something to
that'll be even juicier.
Being a head coach, you gotta do some kind of grind and climbing up the ladder. I mean, as a head coach, Bruce was at Milwaukee. I watched him at USI when I was a kid. To just literally be in the seat, I'm sure he's a great assistant, And people tell you
So was Kenny Payne.
but that's just different than being a head coach. He hasn't been through so many different circumstances to have learned a lot. And then you're handing him what is one of the top programs in college basketball, if only for the last few years. I just don't see how it's going to work, and it's big for us. I'm loving the Brad Cal, Stephen Pearl potential matchup coming up.
So Stephen Pearl is 38 years old. Todd Golden is 40 years old. I'm looking up. How old do we think Brad Calipari is?
Brad's probably, he might be 29, a year younger than me. I think he's on my age range.
28. Close enough. That's
my
crazy.
boy.
He was born in 1996. So party like it's 1996, like Jack's shirt.
That's what the shirt's about. That
Yeah,
Jack's wearing. It's
that
Brad's
is-
birthday.
Brad Calipari.
That wonderful moment. Ugh. Oh man. Well, it'll be entertaining to see what Auburn basketball does now that Bruce is out. I would kind of like to see Bruce get into broadcasting. I know Zach's clearly not a Bruce fan, but he's entertaining. I could see him taking somebody's place on College Game Day, like Seth Greenberg, maybe go away. Let's bring in Bruce Pearl. He probably would run with that and like start ripping his shirt off too often. So maybe we would come to regret it, but we'll be watching. We'll also be watching the new Air Bud movie. As you all know, they're making a new Air Bud movie. How many years has it been since the last Air Bud movie? I just remember one Air Bud.
There's like a dozen of them, aren't there?
I had no idea.
There's a lot of Airbuds.
But
I think they play field hockey.
Northern Kentucky
what?
Golden Retriever. Wait, Air Bud played field hockey?
I swear, there's so many of these straight to home video Air Bud movies. Like I'm telling you, he did volleyball. They did all the sport. Like
Air Bud Spikes Back, Air Bud
Yeah.
7th Inning Fetch, Air Bud World Pup, Air Buddies. There are a lot.
I knew about buddies. And
I could swear
like, there's a
field hockey
Santa
one, too.
Pups or something.
Space
Those are the
Buddies,
names too. I like the names on these movies.
Snow Buddies, Santa Buddies. I had no idea this franchise was that big. Air Bud, yeah. Good
I
grief.
remember
Spooky
Golden
Buddies.
Receiver.
Yeah, Golden
Yeah.
Receiver.
See, the puns. They nailed the puns. I'll give them that.
Treasure Buddies. They go treasure hunting.
How would they hold a field hockey stick? I'm confused. I
How
got
would
you on
shoot
all
a
the other
basketball?
stuff.
What are you talking about? Come on, this is it's a dog playing sports.
I got you on going to space and playing basketball. I'm cool and all that, but
You
when
lose
it
on
comes
field hockey.
when it comes to a field hockey stick, you lost me.
That's just a bit too far. Well, in the new Air Bud, Air Bud may actually be a dog from Northern Kentucky. Let's see. The dog from Northern Kentucky is one of 4 finalists to be the new Air Bud. And I loved the audition tape. I don't know if you all saw it. The woman, the owner, the human showed Air Bud, her finalist, walking out to the John Wall 2009 Big Blue Madness intro, which was pretty cool.
Oh,
Well, you can't
Nice.
hear, but yeah. It would have been even cooler had it been a Kentucky.
Hell, my dog can do that. Why? I'm confused. That video was a dog walking down a hallway. What? Why do they get to be in a movie, but my Benny, wherever he
Benny!
went, why doesn't he get to be Air Bud? This is stupid.
not a
He'll be in the field. He'll be in the field hockey sequel.
They took the time to
me.
send the email to sign up. That's the difference. They
Yeah,
reached
that's a good
out.
point.
Said,
That's
"Y'all need a
true.
dog?
Yeah, that's true.
Here's a dog.
I mean, I guess you have to have like auditions for that, but I didn't realize they were bringing in 4. They were doing it by finalists, and now what are they? Is it? Do you get them all together for one like big final test? Like, how do they figure that out? That would be something.
Do they see which is best with a field hockey stick or a basketball or a football or volleyball? I don't know. I think it's interesting. If there was like an online vote, I have a feeling Kentucky fans would make sure that dog won it, though.
Pull it
let's
off.
see.
Are any of you all Reds people?
Nah,
Like the
really.
baseball team?
There was just an insane play in the Reds game to keep them alive.
Do we need to bring in Adam Luckett real quick to give us the play-by-play live
They were up
reaction?
1 in the top of the 9th with the guy on base, and it looked like the Pirates had hit a home run, and the right fielder Marte robbed him to save the Reds season. It's pretty wild. I'm sure it'll be circulating everywhere soon, but my phone blew up with Reds people. I didn't know I'm sure there might be some watching our
It's
chat. I
over.
don't know if any of you all in the group are Reds people, but it was an insane catch.
So it's it's over 2-1. So are they in? They just needed one, right?
Yeah, I mean they're not in, but they would have been out if they had lost that. And the ball was over the fence, and they would have been down 3-2, and he robbed them to wrap up the game.
So Steven said the Reds need the Mets to lose.
Yeah.
I just every time
the nail in the coffin if that ball had kept going.
Yeah, every time I think about the Reds now, I just feel bad that Matt can't follow along because he broke his phone in South Africa. Like that's got to be absolutely killing him. Did he bring it up during his podcast with you today, Drew?
Oh, the one we didn't do again.
You didn't do it again.
Also, well, I'm not going to complain, but I spent a lot of time. Never mind, it doesn't matter. I was there for a while and didn't need to be there. Unrelated to Matt, something else happened. I had to record an ad for pizza, and I said $10.99. It took a while, Senate got approved. As soon as I get home, they said, "Can you come back? We're sorry." In the script, it's supposed to be $10, not $10.99. And I'm like, I went downtown and sat there for a podcast and a pizza ad, and none of it mattered. So
I will pay the dollar difference for all the people that get it if I don't have to go back downtown.
Can they just like clip it? Can they just?
That's what I was like. So Drew had an afternoon just of unnecessary things I didn't have to do at all, but that's okay. I'm happy to be here with you.
Can you name drop the pizza place? Or?
Oh, shout out Donato's. It wasn't their fault. It was on the iHeart end. No, they did nothing wrong. But yes, I had a wasted couple hours downtown. Anyway, that's my day. I'm going to drink this beer.
Cheers to you. Have a couple more of them. I was counting on that podcast to help me get to the beach tomorrow afternoon, but I guess maybe by tomorrow mid-afternoon, maybe.
I think they're going to run a rerun or something. I'm not sure how it worked out, but he couldn't get connected. Yeah. Turns out the old South Africa Lexington connection doesn't always work.
Why are we hearing about preseason week 3 games?
Oh man. Well, speaking of practice, let's talk a little practice with Jack Pilgrim. Kentucky basketball is practicing now. It's not exactly like official practice, right? It's like,
no, we're good. We're
practice.
in.
Okay.
This is it. We are in it. The NCAA describes it as in-season practice.
All right. Well, rock and roll. They can now practice or do whatever, 20 hours a week, I think. And they have, it looks like, made the most of every single minute. It looks like they were doing morning practices. They're doing 2 days. So the morning practices would be at Joe Craft and afternoon at Rupp. As someone who wondered why Kentucky didn't practice more often at Rupp throughout the Calipari era, I'm loving seeing all this Rupp practice personally. Jack, you dropped some really great intel on KS Board. We won't spoil it because we want you to become KS Board members. Promo code UK1 for 2 months for $1, I believe. But any tidbits that you've heard in the last couple days that are worth sharing?
Yeah, I think if you're wondering about the point guard position, Jalen Lowe has been above and beyond, exceeding every expectation that fans could have had, the coaching staff could have had for him. The way he's been described has been Otega Oweh's team, obviously, but Jalen has definitely fit kind of that 1A, 1B in terms of a leader, in terms of an impact piece. They're just, some of the players on the team are saying this is the best point guard I've ever played with, and those are guys that have played with Lamont Butler last year. So just a lot of really, really good things about Jalen. And I think if the point guard situation is settled and on good standing, then everything else will kind of fall into place. Some of the other early standouts of this fall period, Jasper Johnson, who was kind of an up and down guy over the course of the summer. He's been very, very good to start with. Cam Williams, I've heard really good things about him, making a ton of shots, doing some really interesting things defensively. So I feel very, very good about this team. A lot of high floor guys, the Mo Diabates, the Denzel Aberdeens, the Otega Owehs, obviously, that exactly what they're going to bring to the table during the season. You just need a couple of these wild cards to hit, the Jaspers, the Cam Williams, the Andrea Yelovich. If you can get one or two of those guys to be kind of Jaden Quaintance, if he can play like a top 5 draft pick next season, then we can talk pretty excitedly about getting back to Indianapolis, and then what happens there is we'll worry about that when the day comes. But we can be very, very excited about this team where things stand. We're a week into these in-season practices, but the team's off to a very, very good start.
Yeah, West River Robin actually asked about Yelovich. He said, has he done anything awesome in practice that could be a highlight reel?
Yeah, I think he right now, everything is just coming at him 400 miles an hour. It's like, whoa, the pace and style of play is so much different than anything that I experience overseas, and he's a little overwhelmed right now. He's doing some interesting things, especially in like the individual drill work, shooting lights out, like a lot of just the pure skill things to show off why he was brought in to begin with. He's doing really, really well. But in terms of the 5-on-5 actual live reps, he's pretty, drowning a little bit. He's trying to figure himself out. So yes, he's definitely getting a highlight play here and there, kind of doing something where like, oh, there it is. That's what we've been waiting for. But definitely a work in progress with Yelovich. But hey, that's why you have Brandon Garrison. That's why you have Mo Diabate. That's why you have these other kind of high floor guys that what they're going to bring to the table. And then Andrea can come along at his own pace. And I expect him to get there at some point.
Yeah, speaking of these practices, it'd be cool to see one. I feel like every media member that's not local has been invited to Kentucky's practices this week. And J. Kyle Mann, Jimmy Dykes, I'm sure I'm missing some. Bill Raftery was there a while back. That would be pretty cool. Maybe one day soon, or they'll just be like, all right, Big Blue Madness is all you guys get.
How dumb is it that I have to pick up Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster from practice and drive them to the airport and ask them what they just saw and what they liked about what they just saw for my version of intel? It's like, hey, couldn't I just watch and like do the same thing that they did? But hey, you know what? Whatever at this point, whatever.
Recently, a parent of one of the players was like, hey, I haven't gotten in there yet. How are they looking? And I was like, well, we don't get to see them. And they were like, what do you mean you don't get to see them? I was like, we never get to see them. It's like, I don't understand. Why don't the media get to go to practice? Like that happens everywhere. I was just like, I don't know what to tell you. Hadn't seen them.
Great question. Haven't seen
Maybe
them.
other schools, that's cool, but not here. Let me know if you see them though. Tell me how it looks. But they were quite shocked that we don't get to.
Didn't Calipari just host an open media practice like a week or two ago too? I'm pretty sure I saw that.
That's just the icing on the cake when Cal's inviting the media in, but that's all right. We will take
I'm seeing a theme
get.
here. I'm seeing a constant here. Huh. It might be us. I'm just
Is it something we did?
Just thinking out loud here. I'm thinking that we're the problem.
Well, I guess we'll all get to watch them on TV or at Rupp a week from Saturday. Oh, we got an appearance by Gouda. What up, Gouda? And then
her
Benny
mom
made
left
an
to go to the
appearance.
gym, so she's upset.
That's fair. I get it. I totally get it. Well, we'll get to watch them at Big Blue Madness a week from Saturday. That'll be fun, right? Or 2 weeks from Saturday.
Sorry, she's gone.
Those tickets are distributed tomorrow, right? There's no camp out, but if you get on Ticketmaster and you beat all the bots and everything, you can get your tickets to Big Blue Madness tomorrow night. We got some more tip-off times today. Those were mostly exciting. The Purdue exhibition, 6 o'clock Eastern on SEC Network. Very happy to see that one's being televised. A couple of the more cupcake games, Tennessee Tech, NC Central, 7 o'clock, SEC Network games. The Gonzaga game in Nashville, which 3 of us will be at. I don't know, Zach, maybe you're planning to come too. It'll be a Friday night. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock on ESPN2 at Bridgestone Arena. And then the Indiana game is 7:30 on ESPN on Saturday, December 13th. So nothing too surprising there. I'm glad that the Nashville game isn't late because I'm selfish and I'm working that one. If we could choose, maybe we would want the Indiana game to be a little earlier on a Saturday, but that'll be a fun day in Lexington, even though the Hoosiers kind of stink. This comes after we learned the North Carolina game, and the SEC ACC Challenge is at 9:30 on a Tuesday night, which will make for an incredibly long day, but we're used to those. So any thoughts on tip times? Happy with them? Sad with them?
Indiana, I grew up on that rivalry. I'm from 45 minutes south of Indiana. Like when we wanted to go to a nice restaurant on birthdays and stuff, you go to Evansville. So like some people have that with Tennessee on the southern border. I grew up on that, and it feels weird being a night game. It felt like for so long that was like noon. Like I remember going over to my grandparents' house and watching it. It was always like a lunchtime thing to play Indiana. So I know that rivalry doesn't mean a lot to many people, and really I don't care about it anymore either because they suck. But it did feel weird not having that game at like 1 o'clock CBS right in the middle of the day on a December Saturday because it felt like it was that way for so long.
Yeah, I remember I went to a couple of those where they were at like the RCA Dome and it'd be the split down the middle, like one side blue, one side red. And my dad had scalped tickets to it, and we ended up in the Indiana section, which was not fun at all. But I think we ultimately won that game, so we got the last laugh. But looking forward to getting that series going. I mean, I know Indiana's not great, but maybe we'll see down the road. It'll recapture some of the old glory. And I know Ryan Lemon's excited about it. So at the very least, I'm happy for him.
It can be good if they hold up their end of the deal, but their level of suck right now, it doesn't make it very exciting. You guys are younger. You probably don't even remember a good Kentucky-Indiana game. Hell, I'm 40, and I barely remember when it was good. So
2012.
it will be good for the schedule if Indiana can get back to somewhat of a power, and I have no faith they'll do that. But if it's what it is now, it's going to be hard to really get into that one the way it once was.
Yeah, we'll roll through some more basketball things. We have some questions from the chat. Somebody asked about the Kentucky being ranked in the top 5 of that one preseason poll. I believe that was Isaac Trotter from 24/7. Put Kentucky number 4. Do you remember who was ahead of them, Zach? I think Purdue probably number 1.
Yeah, Purdue, Houston, I forget the third team, but it's that 3 through 10, 11, 12 range is all kind of the same, jumbled up, put them in any order type thing. So
all that matters is that Kentucky was ahead of Louisville. That's what I think.
And Florida.
So,
they're ahead of Florida too.
Nice.
Nice.
Steven, it probably won't surprise you, thinks that Kentucky is a top 5 team. He put that in the chat.
Top
Otis,
5, Steven?
I know. Come on. Top 3? You're sleeping on him, Steven.
What do we think they're going to do for Madness? Not to gloss over our rankings here, but we brought that up earlier. Do we know any tricks they're going to have up their sleeve?
It's bigger and bolder.
Bigger and
a lot
bolder?
of recruits.
And only on SEC Network Plus.
I miss the days where every year it was rumored Drake was going to be there. To a point, it got boring. Like, all right, we don't care if Drake's going to be here because he's been here 3 times, but it would come up every year. And then, most times he wouldn't be there. But I haven't heard much of any buzz with what's coming up this year. I didn't know if Jack had heard anything or if we're just all going to be surprised together.
2 years ago, it was Lil Wayne that was on his way and had his flight canceled or something like that. So we were scheduling something fun and extravagant. We liked that. And then last year, the rumor was John Wall, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that was all of us getting excited about, what if John Wall drops from the ceiling? And I will say how much they've been including John Wall in all of these, podcasts and, he retires and it feels like he's much more vocal about his love for Kentucky and kind of, reminiscing about the glory days. I wonder if that's what they have up their sleeve, kind of bringing that back and continuing to bridge the gap between the eras. That's my runaway favorite for right now, John Wall.
They're going to put him on the lift again with the green light and the smoke?
Got to.
We're going to raise him up in the air?
Yeah.
Got to.
I hope they bring back the glass court. I did like that when they had
that.
Was
awesome.
That was the big thing.
I was a fan
year,
of that.
Yeah.
So I hope maybe the technology's advanced a little bit more that you can, because it was kind of cool, but I feel like with that tech, with what that is, you could do a little bit more with it. So I'm eager to see if they bring that back. I imagine they will, and maybe upgrade that a little bit more. But it's going to be a massive recruiting weekend. It's like this week right now is a huge recruiting week, but I think it's 3 or 4 official visitors, and then there's just going to be kids from everywhere, underclassmen, high school underclassmen from everywhere coming in. So that's a Jacob Polchuk question, but
yeah, I pulled up his thread from the board. Official visitors for Madness: Ethan Taylor, Josh Irving, Jordan Smith Jr. Like you said, I'm sure there are a bunch of unofficial visits.
There's a lot of 27s, 28s that'll be coming in as well. So, and that feels like one of the main reasons maybe to move it to a Saturday, make it easier to get everyone in, things like that.
Oh, yeah. I have an idea about Big Blue Madness.
Is it
not bringing Mark Stoops out to gloat and
that didn't
talk
age
about
well, did it?
That was my favorite part about the glass floor with the football field. That was so cool. We got to bring that back.
The football field was kind of cool.
It aged like milk in approximately 12 hours because Kentucky got beat the next day. Let's just never do that again. And
was that coming off the Ole Miss win?
It was coming off the Ole Miss win and then lost Vanderbilt the next day. I think I'm pretty sure that was the case. But It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Let's not run that back. So yeah, more John Wall, less Mark Stoops, please.
Wasn't he like, oh, this is what this is all about? I've never met
Oh
anyone
yeah.
here."
He was
We're
We're
kinda-
all in this. We're all in this together. And like a week later, we're like, yeah, Mark Pope and Kenny Brooks. We're in the cheerleading, dance. We're all in this together. You can stay over there.
To stay on the football John Wall topic, there's no doubt John Wall still plays because at the Eastern Michigan game, they played that Troop 41 to the John Wall, and the place went nuts. I know it's a different sport, and that was 15 years ago, but everybody still gets into the John Wall dance, even the freshmen over in the student section. So if they
Cutter
do bring
Bully
him into
doing it in the
madness, there's no
sidelines.
doubt it'll work.
Yeah, the clip of Cutter Bully doing it. That was some good social media stuff by UK. So props to them for that. And Matty G, don't think I didn't see your thing that makes us all feel old. He said there will soon be kids in college who weren't born yet when John Wall committed to Kentucky. So if you need your daily I feel old fact, there you go.
Cheers.
Thanks, Matty G.
Didn't UK athletics the basketball team call 30-year-olds unks today? Is that what I saw?
No, 24-year-olds.
24 is unk.
I think Jasper might have said like 22 actually, or Denzel, one of those.
We
All right,
probably
yeah.
have a 22-year-old on the roster. Are they calling him that? Like,
Probably, yes. Well, Yelovich said 40, which made me feel a bit better. Sorry, Drew, but
See,
I've been
that's
called unk before.
that's a cultured man right there. Shout out Yelovich.
I will say I was called unk for the first time recently. I kind of took it as a compliment because aren't unks kind of cool? It's not like, get out
Yeah.
of here, old man. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
unk. So even though it was my first one and it took me a minute to process it, I feel like there's worse things to be called. Kind of took it as a compliment.
so what's the female equivalent of that? An auntie doesn't sound super cool. I feel like kind of
yeah,
What a auntie.
what up, auntie? I'll
doesn't
take
hit
it
the
though.
same.
Westopher Robinson, now I need a Country Boy beer after hearing that comment. Same. So
Always.
Yesterday, when we had Jojo Kemp on the show, most of our conversations during the break were just how old he is, how old I am. And we sounded like two old dudes at McDonald's in the morning talking about the good old days. We were just, remember this? And at one point he pointed up at our KSR office. He's like, dude, remember I did that podcast up there with you? What was that? And we couldn't have sounded older and lamer than we'd come right back and keep sounding old on the radio.
we had The Office when JoJo was in school, or I guess maybe it was after.
It was a little after, but he did the football podcast with us. But it was just the way we were saying it. We couldn't have sounded like two older men looking back on the old times.
Just some unks.
Just a couple of
reminiscent.
Couple of unks.
You and Drew on radio. You said that they were bringing back the Grove Street party,
The Grove
and that was
Street.
that added to the unk status.
The Grove Street.
I gotta
No,
get on
you don't get called
Google.
unk if you say the Grove Street. That's more get out of here, old man.
Yeah, you old bastard.
I at least called myself out though. I caught myself on that one because that was a bad look for me.
Well, I loved JoJo talking about playing pickleball. That was a very I've become old moment from JoJo. I love that he named like 3 different places he plays pickleball in Lexington. One of which is PKL Lex, where you can get Country Boy Brewing. But
Yeah.
JoJo was so entertaining. I know you all kind of recapped it on today's radio show, but they have got to let him be the hype man at Kroger Field, right? Like that's the easiest layup of all time. Like just give him the mic.
They probably won't now that we said it, but yeah, that would make the most sense.
We'll take our endorsement back. Yeah, see, Westopher Robin knows.
I do feel like JoJo has a bit of a tick where if he doesn't know what to say, he just yells, "Why not?" There were a couple times where we asked him something and it did not apply at all, but whatever. His energy's so good. Just yell, "Why not?" I picture him at like the ortho legend, Dr. Hamilton. And, he's trying to sell someone this new knee. And he's just like, why not the new knee? Why not? But he was so good. So much energy.
Well, anytime he wants to come on the podcast, he's more than welcome. We'd love to have JoJo on Happy Hour. Let's see. Any more basketball thoughts, or should we roll on to KS Board Q&A? Anybody got anything?
Good.
Q&A. I'm ready for it.
Q&A. Let's do it. All right, Stephen, if you don't, here we go. All right. From today, which team will win a game first, UK football or UK basketball?
I thought this one was a joke question at first until I looked at the schedule.
But who's pulling up the schedule right now? I know.
I already had it pulled up. Yeah, like basically Kentucky has to win a game before going to Auburn, or before Florida comes to town.
It's either Saturday
So
against South Carolina or basketball. Those are your options.
Or maybe Auburn ends up tripping
Wow.
up. So yeah, it is actually, because I did think it was a joke, and then I looked at the schedule, and that might actually happen if they don't win on Saturday.
Well,
Jack
what's
just
the
nailed it.
pick?
If it's not Saturday, it's basketball.
Yeah.
Hey,
And if
Nichols,
you
don't
wanna
count on
say-
Nichols, man. They could give Pope some problems in that first game.
Yeah, and if you want to say just power 4 wins, if it's not Saturday, we could have an SEC basketball tournament win before a football win.
Oh man, that is depressing.
We need Tennessee Tech to
Shout out
really
Tennessee Tech. Can't wait to get to see you in November, Tennessee Tech. You can't get here soon enough.
I mean, really, South Carolina at Georgia, that ain't happening. Texas, no. Tennessee learned better than to pick that as a win.
That was my pick.
At Auburn, it was a trendier upset pick in our preseason predictions. I don't think that's the case anymore. Florida, but by then, this basketball season will have already started. Ugh, that's brutal. Yeah.
Can we play what if though? What if Texas plays Florida next? What if Florida beats Texas? Because Texas hasn't really been that impressive.
We were just talking ourselves into Kentucky beating Florida, though.
That's true. But I mean, let's say, actually, I'm the one that was just most negative. Now I'm saying we're going to beat Texas. But before the year, that was an absolute no way we're beating Texas. But they have not looked good. And if Florida beats them, oddly, that might be one of the more winnable games moving forward. But they still have a lot. They can improve from what they've been. But it's just outrageous to even think that that's going to be one of the lower spreads because Texas has been disappointing.
Well, hopefully Saturday Kentucky beats South Carolina with. We forgot to mention we talked about Air Bud. We didn't talk about the fact that Cutter Boley has the nickname of a golden retriever from his roommates. Zach, were you there that night or that day when they were talking about that? At practice?
No, at practice, no, I wasn't there for that. But yes, Cutter definitely has the shaggy dog haircut right now, and it's just worse whenever he takes off his helmet after playing football for a few hours. But yeah, he could probably audition, do pretty well, beat out that Northern Kentucky dog. I'd say he's probably better at football. So
maybe you haven't seen this Air Bud in action. You don't know.
I hope Cutter has that dog in
use a
him
haircut.
Saturday.
Hey.
Oh.
Get that Air Bud. Golden receivers out there. Come on. Receivers, yeah.
All right, let's go to the next question. Fire Mark Stupid says, what are your fourth away to the season football predictions?
I thought that was
that's
part of the
just-
question.
Say it how it's spelled. Come on.
Yeah.
Say it how it's spelled.
Fire Mark Stupids.
There you go.
Fire mock stupids.
What are our quarter
Regular
of the
post.
season football predictions? Have they changed or remain the same? I think I picked 5 and 7, and I was trying really hard not to pick 4 and 8. It's kind of a cop out, but can I see how they do on Saturday before weighing in? I don't know. I picked them to beat Vanderbilt.
No, you
Yeah.
can't. You gotta pick one.
If I can't, then I'm going 4 and 8 because I don't see him beating Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt the way Vanderbilt's playing this season. So I guess I'll downgrade slightly to 4 and 8. What about you, Drew?
The only prediction I'd change, so I had them losing to Ole Miss. I had them losing Saturday. I'm with you, though. I had them beating Vandy. If I could go back with my pencil, I would change that one. I had them losing to Auburn. My SEC wins were only Vandy and Florida. I'll keep Florida, but I would take one more win off the board with Vandy. I thought Pavia would come back to life a little bit. Defenses have time to figure them out. I thought maybe last year Vandy kind of caught everyone by surprise, especially Alabama. But the way they've looked so far this year, they haven't skipped a beat from a year ago. So I would change my prediction and change that one to a loss.
I saw the score of their most recent game. I forget who they played. It was a terrible team. It was like 70-19, like 7-0. And I saw it go by on the ticker on the news. It's like, that's got to be a typo. But no, I mean, that Vanderbilt is different these days. The pictures from their stadium it's a different Vandy. So
how did we get here? How did we get here that Vandy has the swagger?
it's the upside down world. Jack or Zach, have either of your season predictions changed?
They should, because I had them beating Tennessee. So I'll probably go back on that one as well. I think Steven did that as well. So shout out to not Stephen Pearl, Stephen Peak, the only Stephen we actually care about. And I think I had him beaten Vandy too. I probably have. I'll stick with that one. And then, if I could switch that Tennessee win to Florida, maybe, I can. That would be the pathway to 5 wins. But yeah, that Vandy game might end up being really important if they can steal one against Auburn or Florida, just for the optics of how the season ends.
It's weird. I feel better about the program right now, but I also just don't know where I'm going to pick the wins. It's that weird, like, hey, it feels like we're trending in the right direction. If Cutter doesn't go down to Columbia and crap down his leg, like, it feels like we may have something there. But it like, I was teasing you, but it does feel like South Carolina, like, hey, let's talk on Sunday and really decide this, because if they go down there and win, then you can kind of be like, well, why can't we go win 7 games? But then if they lose, then you're like, well,
how are they going to win?
I don't see us. How are we going to win 3? Yeah, it feels like such a massive swing, and this weekend is it sucks. It's a very tricky spot to be in. But I feel better about the program while also not knowing where the wins are going to come from. If that makes any sense.
I'm with Tyler in the aspect of I would like to answer this question on Sunday morning. Just I want to see what Cutter looks like. I really do, because I think that's ultimately what it's going to boil down to. Is because I feel like we know the defense is they're good enough, and I think they'll continue to improve, and the offensive line's holding up, so it's just a matter of how good's the quarterback going to look.
Steven,
I'm leaning
go ahead.
negative, but if they do go down there and win, which will not surprise me at all, then you can start thinking a little bit. I mentioned Texas is down. I know that's crazy to say that out loud. Florida is a train wreck right now. I'm still not going to pick beating Vandy, but maybe you surprise Auburn. Auburn's better than I thought they'd be, but it's not impossible. So even though I'm, sitting here wishing to see Texas Tech and writing us off, I haven't given up on the year. And if they can go down to Columbia and actually look good, especially just in game and the overall operation, there are winnable games that when we first got our schedule this summer, we probably weren't considering as winnable games.
Yeah, and Stephen, go ahead and highlight your own comment. Stephen is claiming that Kentucky is going to go down to Columbia and they're going to beat South Carolina and beat Tennessee.
Playoff, here we come.
I'll have what he's having. I will remind everybody. Yeah, I'll remind everybody. Stephen also picked Kentucky to beat Ole Miss and was super confident about it. So, not to pour cold water on Stephen's predictions, but just a fair warning. I hope he's right though. That would be fantastic.
We had a double-digit lead in that game.
Yeah, that's true.
Tennessee just scores too many points, and for Kentucky to win games, it's not.
Can't keep up.
It can't be a shootout. I mean,
he's in the stream with audio only.
Here he comes.
We haven't seen Cutter Boley play a full SEC game. He's gonna light it up. I think we're gonna feel a lot more confident after Saturday.
I hope you're right. These are technically true.
Why not? We're just gonna be
Why
positive
not?
until
on us.
if they don't win this one, they probably don't. Maybe they beat Florida, but they probably don't win an SEC game. So I'm just gonna stay positive through this week. Let's see what happens. New quarterback, and if they look, what did Vanderbilt beat this team by? They scored 31 on them. Can we get in the 30s? If they get in the 30s and win this game, do you feel better about how the season is going? And do you see potential wins out there now?
Let's win 20-13 and come home, just the way Mark Stoops won. I think when we try to start scoring 30, we're in trouble. I mean, what's the stat? We even scored more than 2 touchdowns against a legitimate opponent in like years. Like the offense doesn't have more than 2 touchdowns.
Not in one half.
Forever.
No, not in one half.
So this team can be good, but I don't know that it'll be by putting up 30, but who knows? Maybe Cutter will surprise us.
I love Stephen's maniacal laughter there. That was
I also
wonderful.
like how he mentioned the possibility of beating South Carolina and Tennessee, and then also snuck in the likelihood of a doomsday scenario where they lose every SEC game the whole season.
That's Stephen, baby. Boom or bust.
You got both sides of the spectrum. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
All right, what's our next question? Educated guess on how many threes per game this team will take and how many they will make. For comparison, last year's team made 9.5 per game and shot 25.3 per game. I know that Mark Pope wanted them to shoot 35 a game. They fell short of that, but still, that's a lot of threes. Zach, what's your guess? How many will they take and how many will they make?
So I kind of looked up a little bit of numbers just to kind of see. So Bart Torvik has Kentucky's current roster and then their shooting stats from last season. And this doesn't count Yelovich, the 3 freshmen. But they were at 33.8% last year if you kind of account for everyone. You know, that's like with a bad Jalen Lowe. Like you can expect an uptick from him. You know, maybe a little uptick from Aberdeen, maybe a little uptick from Owe as well. And then you expect Jasper Johnson and Yelovich to maybe shoot in the average realm of 34, 35, 36. So I think 35% is probably what they'll end up going for. And we've talked about it before, but I think just most of the 3-point shooting will come off the bench. So you're going to have to get up to that 25 threes a game that they were last year. You're going to have a lot of bench guys shoot a lot and shoot really well. So I think they'll probably get right back to that 35 or not 35, the 25 threes per game range at around a 35% clip, which is totally fine. 35, 36. Like I think that would be probably one of the top 10 teams in the country if they can end up hitting those 2 marks.
All right, Jack, you're the expert. What do you say?
Yeah, I think it's just so different because we don't have a high volume individual like Kobe Brea who really skewed the numbers overall, where if he was taking 10 threes in a game, then like obviously the overall team volume was going to be higher. I think this team is deeper with good shooters without the one individual elite shooter. So I do think that they're going to actually up those 3-point numbers. If last year the number was 25.3 per game, I think they get to 27, 28. I really do. And if that, you know, they shoot some, 36% or something, I think they'll end up making 9 threes a game or whatever. And I think we'll end the year saying that this is a very good 3-point shooting team, even though there's not one 46% 3-point shooter. I think that we're going to have a lot of guys living in that 36 to 43-ish range that will, a lot of reliable 3-point shooters.
Otis Hudson did a good job reminding us in the comments that Pope told Field of 68, 6 or 7 guys are up to 70% from the 3-point range. He said that in last week's practice report. And I think in that, Colin Chandler also shared that Cam Williams shot 10 in a row in a recent scrimmage. So Jack, for you, like you were talking about, this group doesn't have a volume shooter like Kobe Brea. Does Cam Williams, is he the closest, I'm guessing?
Or Trent. Yeah, Trent Noah is definitely right there. He's kind of been the dead-eye go-to catch-and-shoot guy. So there's a lot of those types of players. I think Cam's going to be a really, really good shooter. Colin is a really confident shooter. I do think that Jalen Lowe, that was a real outlier for him last year as poorly as he shot. I think he's going to live in that 35, 36%. And for everything else that he brings to the table, I think that's going to be a really, really good number for him. So, I think the closest that we'll get is definitely, what happens with Jasper. There's a chance that Jasper kind of explodes. But he feels more of like a game in, game out. There's going to be one game that he goes for 8 threes, and there are going to be a couple where he doesn't hit a single shot. So, a lot of kind of variables there at play, but I do think that Trent and Cam are going to be your best bets there.
We use the words Colin Chandler, so Drew Franklin deserves time to speak. So thoughts?
Everyone knows my thoughts on sophomore Colin Chandler. Buckle up. I think one thing that will help this team get more threes off is last year without a point guard, things got kind of stagnant. We saw this sitting around. One thing Jalen Lowe does well is break down a defense, get to the rim, and then kick it back out to open shooters. I think we're going to get more shooting from the 4 this year. Carr turned it on a little bit when he was healthy, but for the most part, Almanor gave you a little bit. But I think they'll improve where you have more shooters all the way across at every position. And with Lowe being that kind of get in the lane and kick it back out, I'll say they take a couple more per game this year. Obviously, you don't have a Kobe Brea who can just at any moment pull up from wherever. But I just think they're going to get more of the flow that got cut off last season. When Pope was trying to get the 30 per game, we saw many times that offense just died. I don't think that'll be the case if Lowe stays healthy with him running the show. So I'll say they shoot 27 threes, couple more than a year ago. Pope will keep preaching the 30. I don't know if they'll get to it, but they have a better chance this year than last year.
All right, love to see it. And we got one more question, I believe, or maybe 1 2-parter, Stephen. I think. Heisman pick after 4 weeks of games. Which non-Kentucky basketball team are you most excited to watch this season? I just hope that Lenora Sellers isn't a Heisman pick after Saturday night, because whenever I've looked up anything about the Heisman, it's all Lenora Sellers right now. So as far as the other college basketball team I'm most excited to watch, I mean, maybe St. John's, just to see how they do. Auburn, I think, will be interesting in the post-Bruce Pearl era. I just can't get excited to watch Purdue or Houston. I'll probably come back to regret that when Kentucky plays Purdue in that exhibition. But Purdue basketball, this does not sound exciting to me. But maybe that's just me. What about you guys? Zach, I'll let you start.
Heisman, be cool to see the wide receiver from Ohio State win it, Jeremiah Smith. I think he's up there in the actual betting odds. A quarterback will win it, though. Probably, I don't know. Carson Beck will probably end up having a great season. Florida is a team I'm actually very excited to watch. I'm excited to watch individual players like Darren Peterson and AJ DeBanza, but in particular, like, just to see what that Florida team does, losing kind of their entire backcourt and one guy to Kentucky. Their front court's going to be loaded. They, flirted with, or they picked up two guys, Xavier Lee, big time Kentucky portal target. Boogie Flan, obviously committed to Kentucky, like, kind of kick tires on him as well. So very interested to see kind of how they can run everything back and how everything comes together for them, because I think they're going to be very good again and probably up there with Kentucky fighting for the SEC championship. So can they repeat and put it all together again? Todd Golden seems to be a good coach. So, barring, all the other off-court stuff aside. So very excited to see what Florida does, because I think their front court's going to be awesome and really fun to watch.
What about you, Jack?
Yeah, I think, John Mateer was the runaway favorite and everybody loved him until his surgery. Now it's kind of more of a coin flip. Fernando Mendoza has been awesome. Indiana has been really fun to watch, and they've been, kind of surging and beating big name opponents. So I think he's kind of the odds-on favorite right now. But I agree with Zach. I would like to see Jeremiah Smith win as well. Non-Kentucky team that I'm excited for, it sounds weird to say this, but I think Arkansas is there because everybody is hyping up this Arkansas team. Like, oh, well, Cal has his types of players back. He got some of the 5 stars that he wants while also getting some retention. Like, just seeing if it works. Like, all right, what does Cal getting a Cal team back look like, and seeing if he can actually, get back to a Final Four like that. We will very much see, and I'll enjoy watching it from afar without having the personal rooting interest or the emotions involved with that. So, but BYU's definitely right there, Zach. I love that AJ DeBanza. I've rooted for him for a very long time. He's a Boston kid, so I kind of have been rooting from him from afar. He had that Terrence Clark connection way back when. I
still don't get Jack's Boston connection here.
Hey,
I know you're a Celtics fan. I know you're a Patriots fan, but what world is what's your
he grew up a diehard Celtics fan, and Terrence Clark, who was in the very identical boat with him, he kind of idolized Terrence Clark as a kid, and kind of says that he plays for him and all that. So there's just kind of that secondary rooting interest, the fandom that I definitely like, that he's also just an unbelievable talent, so I'll be rooting for him. And just seeing BYU, the post Mark Pope era, I'm fascinated by. I'm really excited to see how Kevin Young can do it.
I don't really have a Heisman pick because I think it's wide open at this point. But it's crazy that the preseason favorites have all almost just been completely scratched, and the entire board's changed. I'm with them. I would like to see a non-quarterback win it, but I think if Miami stays hot, I think, Zach, you said Carson Beck. He's one to watch. I don't think he's the best quarterback in the country by any means, but this is an award where the team that wins a lot of games and QB gets it. So I'll just throw him out as a long shot. But it's crazy that all the people we thought it would be, we're not even through September, and it's changed so much. And on the basketball, I wouldn't call it excited because I'm kind of a hater if you're not Kentucky. I want every team to suck. So I'll say I'm most interested in seeing if Michigan's going to be a real threat in this era. We all know what they did in the transfer portal, went and got Yaxel. Kentucky was head-to-head with them a couple times. Dusty May's only been there a year, but that's a school with a ton of money, and they just cleaned up this past offseason. I think in that new bracketology, they're projected, if not a 1, a 2. I just want to see if they're really going to be a power moving forward, because they're off to a great start on paper. It's just see if that pans out in the Dusty May era.
All right, we got some excellent questions from the board this week. Shout out to you guys for posting them. I agree with you, Otis Hudson. We have to beat Arkansas. There are a lot of big games this year, but after last year's disappointing game in Rupp, I think we got to get Cal back and Bud Walton. So if it's pretty early to talk about games circled on our calendar, but that's one circled on mine. So, but that'll do it. We're coming up on an hour and 15 minutes for our KSR Happy Hour, and I will actually be out next week. I'm headed to the beach. So Drew, you will be driving the ship with whoever wants to join you. Hey, maybe the football guys will be on before they head back down to Athens for the Georgia game. If not, we'll have the basketball guys. Maybe Jacob Polachek will make an appearance. We got to get Phoenix on here at some point. Phoenix Stevens to talk women's basketball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
Maybe
Penelope.
Jojo Kemp.
Jojo Kemp. Why not Jojo?
Why not? Why not?
I'll talk to the Ortho legend, see if we can make it happen.
All right. Well, thanks for everybody for watching. Shout out to Country Boy. Why not Country Boy? And we'll see you next week. Cheers.